The snow fell in thick, heavy flakes over Moulton, Ontario. It was January 1958, but it felt like winter had arrived early and refused to let go. Inside one of the sprawling hangars at Avrow, Canada's plant, a handful of engineers huddled around a table, their breath visible as they discussed the future. The Avrow, Canada's supersonic jet fighter, had been designed with dreams of technological dominance. But now, whispers were circulating. Something was wrong. One engineer, his face pale under the flickering fluorescent lights, looked up from blueprints spread across the desk. "They're going to cancel it," he said softly, more a statement than a question. The room fell silent as everyone processed what that meant. The Avrow had started with such promise in 1957. It was supposed to be Canada's answer to America's cutting-edge aircraft, a symbol of national pride and technological prowess. When the project began, there were thousands of workers at Avrow, and their only succor skrekket. The jet would outclass everything else on the market. But dreams don't pay bills, and by 1958, Canada was facing tough economic realities. Defense spending had become a target for cuts. John Diefenbaker's government saw the Avrow as a luxury, an extravagance in hard times. The man who made that decision was not just any bureaucrat, but one of Diefenbaker's closest advisors, Douglas Abbott. His signature on a single piece of paper would cost 14,000 people their jobs before lunchtime. It felt like a punch to the gut, a betrayal of hope. Abbott wasn't alone in his view. The Avrow was expensive, and there were doubts about its viability as defense strategy. Critics argued that it couldn't be justified against other pressing needs: healthcare, education, roads. But for those who worked on the Avrow, these arguments felt like excuses to hide from a monumental opportunity. The day of cancellation came with a chill in the air. When workers learned their jobs were gone, they weren't just losing livelihoods, they were losing dreams. People gathered outside Avrow's gates, stunned and angry. The plant where pride had been manufactured was now a symbol of failure. Inside the company, it wasn't just about the money lost or the jobs destroyed. It was about the technology that never made it into production: advanced avionics, engines with unheard-of power-to-weight ratios. The Avrow's wings were already in testing, but they'd never see flight. One engineer, a man named Jim Floyd, who had worked on the wing design, left Moulton that day with nothing more than a cardboard box of personal items and blueprints he couldn't bear to discard. He moved across the country to work on lesser projects, his spirit dampened by the loss of what could have been. The cancellation sent shockwaves through Canada's aerospace industry. Avrow's brain drain was swift and complete. Engineers like Floyd scattered to other countries where they found success, but their roots remained in Moulton, haunted by what might have been. In the years that followed, those who had worked on the Avrow often spoke of it as a ghost story, a reminder of how far-reaching decisions could crush dreams so completely. They watched with envy and sorrow as other nations developed technologies that Canada had once planned to lead in creating. But there were also those who saw an opportunity for reflection. The cancellation wasn't just about money, it was about fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of what might go wrong if you pushed too far ahead. It was a moment where ambition clashed with pragmatism, and pragmatism won. Decades later, when the Avrow became a legend in Canadian history books, its legacy wasn't just the technology that never flew. It was about what it cost Canada to play it safe: innovation, vision, confidence. The Avrow's story is one of daring dreams, crushed by doubt and hesitation. And so, as you drive along Eglinton Avenue today, passing the site where Avrow once stood, there's a quiet ache in your heart when you think about the jet that never took off. A reminder that sometimes the most powerful stories are the ones we choose not to tell. The Avrow's ghost lingers over Canada, whispering what could have been if ambition had met faith. It teaches us not just about the past, but about how the choices we make today can haunt us tomorrow.